just so much noise out there. There's like cat videos here and like the latest Trump tweet and whatever it is, right? There's so much noise that's occupying people's space that if I don't create a message that is so compelling, whether you hate it or love it, you're not going to see it.
All right, welcome to Flip Guy Interviews. We have Hoan in the house, straight out of Philadelphia. Hoan, welcome, man. Thanks for joining me.
What's up, Chris? Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. I tell you what, I've been wanting to talk to you for such a long time because you're a cash flow guy, and my name's Cashflow Chris, right?
Right. Absolutely, yeah.
I love the game. I love the concept. I love everything about it. I've met Robert a few times. We've actually played cash flow with him. And he taught it. It was awesome.
Right.
But anyways, I know you're big into cash flow, but a lot of the people who are listening in and watching this video may not know who you are. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, again, my name is Hoan. My little catchphrase is Hoan Houdini Thai, helping you escape your 9-to-5.
Nice.
And with enough cash flow, you can escape your 9-to-5. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but the concept is simple. You collect enough cash flow to pay for your expenses and voila, you may escape. But I've been investing for about 7 years now. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been building a real estate school that helps people learn the concepts of investing in real estate. I like to specialize in creative acquisitions because a lot of people complain that they don't have the money to get started in real estate investing. That's always the first thing. Hoan, I want to do it, but I don't have the money. Okay, well, learn. Figure out how you can get the deal without looking in your pocket, right? And so oftentimes they're always looking at either can they buy it with cash or can they go to the bank and put 20% down and use a mortgage and yada, yada, yada. And then that's it. And when the answer is no to both, then they give up. So
that's so huge. So many, my business partner and I, we were talking about how a lot of people think real estate is linear. They think that there's a certain amount of ways that you have to go, get prepared for a loan, find a realtor, go on MLS, get a loan. But there's a lot of different ways to do that, as you were describing.
Yep, absolutely. So an example of a creative deal that was put together from students within my school, there was a woman selling a property. And we negotiated that we take over her existing mortgage subject to, we talked to a person who brokered private money. So we were able to give the seller some money down, and then the rest of the money we did seller finance. So imagine the house was selling for $200,000 and we needed, let's say it was $100,000 for the mortgage, and then we needed another $100,000 to give to the seller. But we negotiated that the seller take $50,000 down and then seller finance the other $50,000. So we took over the 100 subject to cash, $50,000 that came from a private investor, and then a $50,000 note that the seller held. And then we did the deal.
I love it. You made it happen for the seller. I'm sure that the seller was having issues. They probably couldn't sell very easily. They needed something creative to happen.
Right. Absolutely. And then at the end of the project, they flipped the property and it was good. Everybody was happy at the end. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go back. You said you got in 7 years ago. So were you poised to become a real estate investor, or did your parents have other plans for you?
I don't know if my parents had any plans for me per se. They were just like, go to school, get a job, and voila, you're good for the rest of your life. So right. I went to school, I got my engineering degree, and then I began working as an engineer. And I hated it. I hated going to this little cubicle box like every single day and not having the freedom to do whatever it is that I wanted to do. Like if I wanted to create a better system for the company, I couldn't. If I wanted to create any other kind of product or service or anything like that, I couldn't. So even if I wanted to deliver value in a different way, I couldn't. There was one path. You do these drawings, or you do this plan, or you do what we tell you, and that's it. And then in a couple years, you can be the manager or whatever. And it just, I mean, that was just a dreadful life. I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Boom. That's
Yeah.
how it began for me too.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. That's why everybody invests in real estate. I get it now. And that's what led me to it. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it was like, there was the light bulb. That's how I can escape my 9-to-5 and create income and retire early and not retire at the age of 65 or you name it. Right. So that was the light bulb moment. But then I didn't know what to do. Like Rich Dad Poor Dad doesn't give you strategies on how to invest in real estate. It just tells you that you should. And I was like, okay. So then so for 2 years, I didn't do anything. I mean, I tried, right? I went to one of those seminars, the Rich Dad seminars, and they were like, okay, you're going to call a real estate agent and you're going to say this. You're a local real estate investor looking for cash flowing properties, and that's like this whole script. And I did just that. I called the agent. Every house that we went to go look at was a good deal. I should buy it. And then every house is like, hold on. That's not how this works. I've never done this before, but I know that every house that I go to is not going to be a good deal. So I was just like, he's just looking for a commission. Right. I'm done. I don't, this isn't for me yet, based on my current situation. 2 years later, went to a seminar, and then it taught me about like what's called the BRRRR strategy now, but 7 years ago it had no name, right? But I was just like, oh, that's genius. That's how I can get all my money back, because I was thinking about, okay, 30% down, right? When you do 30% down on a $200,000 house, that was going to be $60,000. $60,000. And if I'm collecting the rent every single month, I'm going to break even in 8 years. I'm like, again, I've never done this before, but I don't think that's the way you do it. So again, I did nothing. But then eventually I went to the seminar. I learned about that BRRRR strategy, and I was like, oh, I can get all my money back within the year. It makes so much sense. So eventually I did my first property 7 years ago, which was a 6-unit apartment building. And it was like,
you didn't want to jump off.
Yeah.
Now, is that common? Because like if you come to Arizona, the Phoenix area specifically, you don't have a lot of multi-units per se, where, I think on the East Coast, it may be a little bit more prevalent. Is that true or no?
No, I just got lucky.
Yeah.
I just got lucky because I've never bought another 6-unit since.
But
I bought like triplexes and duplexes and single families. But yeah, I haven't bought another 6-unit since. But one of my students actually bought one 8 months ago and then recently sold it and made a 6-figure check from. He bought it. He didn't fix it up. He just cash flowed it for 8 months and then sold it and put $100,000 on top of that.
I love it.
So that was, yeah.
Okay. So it took 2 extra years. You learned, you found out about real estate.
Yeah.
You got the juices flowing. It took 9 more years.
Yep. 9 years ago. Right.
And then you did your first BRRRR strategy deal. So you were able to get one under your belt, get some cash back. Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's where we're at.
From there, how long did it take for you to quit your job?
Well, I got let go of my job, luckily, right? Because sometimes it's like you don't plan on stuff like that happening and you think it's like the worst thing ever, but it was probably the best thing ever because they pushed me out of the nest because I was scared to jump, right? So they pushed me out of the nest. And what's great is they gave me unemployment, which was 50% of my salary. And because I was collecting passive income from rent, that's not W-2 earnings. So I technically didn't have a job. So with the income from my 6-unit plus the unemployment, I was good. So then, back to finding more deals.
Awesome. Okay. So how did you start finding more deals?
I actually sucked at it. So I partnered with somebody who was good at it. Okay. I was good at finding the money, and he was good at finding the buildings. So I let him find the buildings, and then I funded the deals. Believe it or not, that's how I got started in the first couple of years.
That's a nice win-win. Okay, well, so how were some of the ways that you were able to find money? It's funny. The other day I was having a meeting with somebody, and in my world, so we're trying to level up, we're trying to buy apartments. So we're going from needing, 20, 30, 40,000 to do a flip to needing millions of dollars to buy these.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because I'm not at that level to where I know a lot of people with millions of dollars.
Right.
Well, I met with somebody who did, and my outlook in life right now is there's all this opportunity and there's no money. He's on the other side of this table saying, oh my gosh, there's all this cheap money out there. Where are the deals? So,
Right.
right, you
Isn't it?
got to reach out there. So what were some ways that you were able to find some private money?
Well, I always tell people don't be an undercover real estate investor. So as you see on my Facebook, I am very vocal and I am constantly putting out messages. That lets people know what you're doing. Otherwise, they won't know. And there's a lot of people with money who, like you said, they're sitting on the other side of the table. Oh my God, there's all this money out there. So there's a couple of things in terms of being able to acquire money. And it's one, knowing people with money, and two, it's knowing people with access to money. So even though that person may not necessarily have access to money in their checking account, you teach them how to access it from their retirement accounts, right? The self-directed. And then you also teach them how to access it by leveraging bank products. If they can get a HELOC on their house, if they can do a line of credit, if they can do a credit card, if they can do things like that, if they can pull money out from even life insurance. Like there's a lot of different ways and access to money that's not necessarily their checking account. So some people have it in their checking and some people have it in other places. As long as you know how they can access it and why they should, if you have a solid plan, then they will.
I love it. Yes. Again, you're going right back to the creativity that
Yeah.
you need to thrive in this business.
Yes. Yes. Because I mean, yeah. Okay. You don't have money. Great. I get, I got that. I actually kind of assumed that you didn't have the money. Like if I'm talking to somebody, I assumed you didn't have the money, but what access do you have? And a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I don't know anybody with money either. Well, then you have to change your circle. What else can I tell you?
Very true.
Or they have money and they're just not telling you that they have it. They're the millionaire next door and you just don't know it. And you never gave them a reason for them to tell you. But
Okay.
that's a different conversation about changing beliefs and this and oh my God, it's a long road.
Yeah. So on that, are you a big proponent of personal development?
All day, every day.
Tell me about some of the maybe programs that you enjoy, books that you like to read. After
Yeah.
that, what are some habits that you've acquired over the years that you think are make you a success?
Yeah. Okay. So some of the programs, I mean, I've done all if you're in the circles that go for more and do more, a lot of people, we read the same things, we go to the same program. So Landmark is one, and then Tony Robbins, UPW, Unleash the Power Within, things like that. I've done. In terms of, so I'm a part of this education company called Renatus, but what's interesting is I also buy all of the education courses that are offered by any of the investors that I see on Facebook. So people are so like weird about buying education, and I'm so quick to the trigger. Like I'll buy that one and that one and that one and that one. It's like a buffet, and I'm just just getting all of it because one little nugget just can change your life completely. So in terms of books, so there's like Outwitting the Devil. That's a really good one. Napoleon Hill, right? Outwitting the Devil. But then you have books by like Eckhart Tolle, which are really deep in terms of like mindset and ego and understanding who you are and how to proceed that way. My favorite book is Retire Young, Retire Rich by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
That was a really he was on his A game when he wrote that one. Yeah, that was a good one. And of course, you got like Grant Cardone. My favorite of his book was the little one, the Millionaire Booklet. It's like the book is like this big, and it's this thick. Like it's such a small book. He said he wrote it in 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was giving them out for free. He was like, "You get my book for free, just pay for shipping." Now I know that's just a backward sales thing, but whatever. Hey, the book is great. I had the hardcover. He sells them in singles and 10 packs. Like I bought a 10 pack and I gave them out. I gave them to a bunch of people. So Yeah, that book's a good one. And then there was a book by Dan Locke called FU Money.
Nice.
So yeah, he's a big influence in my life as well in terms of like mindset things. Because a lot of times people feel like they have to be either PC or apologetic with how they view things. Like sometimes I put my messaging is kind of controversial or causes an emotion. It's like emotionally charged and people are like really get upset by it. And some people would maybe falter. Maybe they would not put out messages like that. But you know, I'm learning to be unapologetic about it. It's who I am. It's how I operate in my head. Everything that you're reading is just my head, just, you know, it's dumping out. That's how I talk to myself. And so that's what you guys see. And it's okay. Just be okay with that. Be okay with who you are.
I love your posts. I love your takes. I love your whiteboard videos. You are definitely engineer brain, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So you do put up a lot of controversial posts, and it seems like you get a little bit of pushback from people who are the 9-to-5ers.
Yeah.
Tell us what are some of the most common excuses that you hear why they can't do what you and I do?
Well, a lot of times, here's what's crazy. The people who push back the most, they don't make excuses for themselves. They make excuses for other people so that they don't ever have to, I guess, be responsible for their actions. So they'll say things like, oh, don't we need employees? Don't we, you know, what if everybody became an entrepreneur? What if everybody became a real estate developer? Like, okay, that's highly unlikely. And if that happened, well, then we would have a huge need for something else. Like if everybody became an entrepreneur selling widgets, well, we're still going to need a doctor and a lawyer and a dentist and everything that you're saying. Well, I'm going to guess that there's going to be an entrepreneur who creates their own practice, their own doctor's office, their own hospital, their whatever. It'll just be privately owned. And maybe we'll be better off for it, because then there'll be multiple doctors' offices, and then they'll be in competition, and then the prices are going to go down, and we'll have better care and things like that. So, you know, I mean, they talk about like, oh, well, what if this, what if that, but they never actually take responsibility and say, well, like they don't mind their business. That's their problem, right? They don't mind their business. My business is that I develop real estate investors. I develop real estate and real estate development. I develop real estate and I develop real estate developers. Okay. So I create students and I create properties, right? That's my business. And so everything I put out there is to generate more business. They're worried about the messages that I say that's putting down people and this and that. And really, I'm not putting down people, because there are a lot of people who are already upset with their situation. I'm just putting it out there and they resonate and they're like, Hoan, and they privately message me because they don't want to comment and get like the wrath of other people. So they'll just message me and like, yo, man, I completely agree with everything that you're saying. I hate my job. I don't see my kids. I don't have enough money. I'm broke all the time. I can't say yes enough to the things that I want. So it's like, okay, I have all these people who are loud and public about all this stuff, but then in private, the real feelings come out. And like there are people who are genuinely like, thank you for saying all that you do, because you're really motivating me to make a change in my life, because the current plan that I'm on is not working. The plan of me working really hard and paycheck to paycheck, it's like, okay, that's not working. So what, do I get another job? But I have kids. So then if I get 2 jobs, I don't ever see the kids. And I actually just got that message today. I got that message today where the person said, I worked 2 jobs for over 10 years of my life for nothing because I'm still broke. And now my kids are grown. So I missed all that.
Wow.
And you can't get that back. It's like you can't do over. So it's almost like an injustice for them if I don't say these things and motivate them to take a change or take action, because their time's going to go by and you're going to miss it. And if you miss it, again, there's no going back.
You know, the thing I think is the saddest about all of this is people do what people won't do what they want to do and live the way they want to live because of the way that other people will think about them.
Yes. Yes.
For example, you're a lazy ass, right? I love it, man. I love it. My business partner is another lazy ass, and he prides himself on that, is because he's living the life that he wants to live. If you want to chill on Wednesday morning and chill out on your couch, you can do that. But a lot of people don't want to admit to wanting to live a lifestyle like that because of what other people will think of them. It's insane.
It is. It is. They're so driven by like opinions, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that Dan Locke thing I was telling you, but the FU money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, make so much money that it doesn't matter what anybody else says.
Yeah. And it's perception, you know what I mean? Just because we're out doing something on a Thursday during the day doesn't mean we're not out Friday night, you know, racking our brain, looking for a deal, calling some, you know, I mean, we're always going. So that's, I think, the other reason people don't want to do that is because they want to be in their 9 to 5 and they want to be able to shut everything out. Once,
Right.
you know, leave it at work, it's there, and they don't even
Right.
want to have to think outside of that.
Right. So yesterday, which was Sunday, the Eagles game was on, right? And, you know, pretty big deal because Nick Foles was going to be the quarterback this time because Wentz is out again and everybody wanted to see it. And during that time of the video, or of the football game, I was watching videos on syndication of multifamily complexes.
Nice.
So I'm watching that while everybody is watching the Eagles game. So yeah, I'm a lazy ass, but I'm always sharpening this,
Yes.
right?
I love it.
Yeah, so it is a different lifestyle, and you have to choose. I just didn't like the 9 to 5 lifestyle when I had it, and it's not that there's anything wrong with it. It didn't fit me, and I know it doesn't fit other people. And if people have a problem with my message, then it's really not for you. Then it's for the person who loves the message. And I intentionally make it polarizing. I make it so that you either love it or hate it, because otherwise it won't cut through noise. There's just so much noise out there. There's like cat videos here and like the latest Trump tweet and whatever it is, right? There's so much noise that's occupying people's space that if I don't create a message that is so compelling, whether you hate it or love it, you're not going to see it. And that's why I do what I do.
That's powerful, man. That's my cut right there. I'm going to start the video with that one right there. I love it. We're going to talk about syndication in just a minute, but why don't you give me your crystal ball? Why don't you pull that bad boy out? What does 2019 look like for real estate in the United States? What do you think?
I'm going to say that for the end of 2018, things were softened because of interest rates going up as well as the holiday season. That's just what it is. As 2019 comes around, money is still going to be very available. Money hasn't tightened up to the point where there's no deals. Money from international countries, whatever, is coming in because people from other countries like China are willing to put their money into properties here in America because it's cheaper, even if they're getting a 2% return by buying a property here. Like the cap rate is just ridiculous. 2% cap, 4% cap, they're fine with it. Why? Because their money is decreasing in value over there. So a 4% over here is better than a negative over there. So they're okay with it. So prices will continue to go up because people are still buying. So I'm not going to say that we're not going to see booms, but prices are still going to be as high as they are. If people are flipping, things are going to start moving again throughout the year because, again, there will be buyers, whether they're American buyers or international buyers. That's a different story. I have no idea, but money's not yet tightened. It's a little tighter, but not tight. I just got approved for another loan just like today, actually. They were like, we're putting paper in. Congratulations. Okay, cool. See, like money is still there. And if money is still there, then houses will still be bought, rent will still be paid. All of that's still going to happen. So for 2019, I believe it's going to be more of the same, not more like growth, but more of like 2018 prices here, flat, maybe little ups, but demand's still there, money's still available. It's just not crazy. It's where supply and demand kind of level, and then it's there, and we're getting there. Before it was all demand, very low supply. And now it's kind of coming back. So for 2019, I think that's where we're going to be.
I would love if you were right. I hope that's true, because we definitely need to blow this market out a little bit. We don't want these massive swings, because we don't want to go down another 30, 40, 50%. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Take it easy, market. We'll see what happens if those interest rate hikes come or not.
Yeah. And this is recorded, so we can go back and see how my prediction goes. I don't know what metrics we're gonna measure, but that's what I'm predicting.
Right. Okay, so let's back up just a little bit. Why don't you tell the guests what the BRRRR strategy is, and give us a quick little synopsis of a deal that you've done.
Okay, so the BRRRR strategy, of course, is you buy it, you renovate it, you rent it out, you refinance, and then you repeat it, right? So it's BRRRR, 4 R's. So first you buy the property. Let's say you buy a property for $100,000, and then the next step is to renovate it or repair it, whatever. So that's the second R. You fix it up. Let's say you fix it up for $50,000. Then you got to go rent it out. You're going to rent that property out, let's say, for $2,000. I'm just making these numbers up. And then you go to the bank and you say, yo, bank, I got this property here. It's worth $250,000. And then they send out their appraiser. They're looking at it and they're like, you know what? We agree. And based on our loan to value, our LTV, we're willing to lend you $200,000. So they lend you $200,000. You're all in for $150. You bought it for $100. You fixed it up for $50. They lend you $200. You pay off that $150 loan. You put the other $50 into your pocket. You're going to collect the cash flow from the rent to pay that mortgage, which is now whatever that is. You have a loan for $200,000. You're going to be paying that mortgage. Might be $1,400 a month, and you pocket the difference, and then you repeat. So that's the basic BRRRR strategy. I've done that in multiple different ways, whether it's multi-unit, or I've even done it where it's a bunch of single families and then I'll refinance with a blanket loan, or I'll just do them individually. So there's a million different ways to do it. Now, the thing that most people get hung up on is that initial B, which is the buy. How do you buy it? I don't have any money, Hoan. Okay, great. And so last night, actually, I was at dinner with a couple of friends, and they were saying exactly that. This is why I'm able to pump out scenarios so quick, because I was at dinner and I said, okay, guys, this house is $150,000 to buy and fix up. How do you come up with the money? And they're like, well, maybe I can ask somebody. I was like, okay, so what would you ask them to borrow the 150, right? So what do you think that person who's lending that 150 is going to want? And they're like, oh, well, they're going to want interest. They're going to want to be paid back. I'm like, great. How much? And they're like, oh, I don't know, maybe $20,000, maybe $25,000. I was like, perfect. So now check this out. Here's the plan. And at the end, you're going to refinance for $200,000. You owe $150 plus $25,000 in interest. That's still only $175. You got $200 back. So $25,000 goes into your pocket, cash free or tax free. Your investor's happy. You paid them back $25,000 in profit. And now you have a cash flowing property. So that's that BRRRR strategy right there. And that's also creative acquisitions mixed in with the BRRRR strategy.
I like it. And what we've been able to do is we've taken that exact same strategy and we've been able to move it into the apartment game.
Yep.
Which is amazing. But apartments do take a lot more money. And so is that what you're looking to get into? What are some of for 2019, what do you want to level up into?
Yeah. I would love to get into that apartment space. I would like to begin creating the syndication to do so, the PPM, Reg D 506, things like that, for bigger deals, for your multi-million-dollar deals. There's ways to structure the deal. So if a bank comes in with, say, 70% loan to value, and let's say a deal is $10 million. And a bank comes in 70% loan to value or loan to cost, right? So they're bringing $7 million to the deal. So that means you need $3 million, but you can still structure that $3 million part where an investor comes in with $2.7 million, and then you bring $300,000. the $3 million little chunk here, and then there's a $7 million chunk here, and that total is 10 million. So the 3 million, which is the 30%, can be broken up into two parts too. Private money of 2.7 million, and then you have 300,000 of your own cash. So then there is the ownership right there, right? 10%, 90%, but that's the ownership. And then you can break their returns down with waterfall models and hurdle rates and everything else, right? So that's that. Then you have your debt. And then you own a $10 million property with $300,000 out of pocket.
Put that in a spreadsheet, show it to 100 engineers, and you'll get your money.
Yeah, ta-da, right? Ta-da, that's it. That's it. People will say things like, so yesterday's example, I was like, how would you raise $150,000? And they said, well, I don't know anybody with $150,000. They said, but you know, there's a bunch of people who have 5,000. So you just ask everybody for $5,000 and you pull it in. And I said, hey, I mean, if that's what you got to do, look, that's going to be hard work. But you know what else is hard work? Going to your 9-to-5 job every single day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week for 8-10 hours a day. So both are hard. It just depends on which one you're willing to deal with. So you got to ask 100 engineers for some money to raise 2.7 million, then so be it. So be it.
Hey, you're right on there, though. I mean, working 40 hours a week for 40 years, that's hard.
That is. Yeah. Yeah, and that's not even including the time that you spend getting ready and commuting to the work or to the job, you know? So it's even more than that. It's even more than that. But people are willing to do that, not knowing, not considering that that is hard and that takes up most of your life, or at least most of your good hours.
It is. They don't understand that that paycheck is the carrot at the end of the stick. And,
right.
you know, they're just being led in circles. You got to get off that. I'll get off that track.
Yeah, yeah. But if they're not doing well, they're paycheck to paycheck. Nobody has a better solution for them. They're like, oh, get another job. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah. So that's why I got to keep on putting the message out there, because, you know, people feel wrong for not wanting to have a job. They actually feel wrong, like they're doing something wrong. It's bad to not have a job. And it just it sucks. Kind of like breaks my heart just watching that, you know? So that's why I'm so vocal. I have to stand for the people who can't stand for themselves. They're really quiet. They're timid. They're just working their job, but they're just trying to make ends meet. But there's no like hero in the front, this leader to tell them like, come on guys, we can do this. Let's go. So that's why I'm like, all right, well, I didn't know it was going to be me, but here I am.
I love that you speak out, because it's a message that needs to be spoken. And a lot of those people, when they're lashing out at you, it's because I think they're doing the math in their heads, and they're like, wow, I'm literally going to have to work until I die. I'm never going to be able to retire. And that's the reality for a lot of Americans. So that's why cash flow is key.
Yeah, yeah. And I once said to somebody, if all your money comes from you working, at the end of the day, you're going to have no money and just be very tired. Right? So you have to have other things working for you and making the money.
If you want to give some basic advice out there, so someone brand new comes to you, they find you at iescapemy9to5.com, and they're like, I don't have any money, I don't have any experience. What's a few simple steps that you can give them to start?
I would say that they need to have a very open mind, first and foremost, right? They have to have an open mind, and they have no money to like invest in real estate. That's fine. What I would suggest though is that they should get a little bit of money and invest it in their education. And I don't necessarily mean college. I mean, getting started with one of my programs, getting started with somebody else's program, doesn't really matter. Just get started where somebody is teaching you something in a structured way so that you can begin this process. This is a journey. Success is a journey. It doesn't happen like that. It's going to take you time to learn. The person needs, a lot of times what I find is people say, oh, you know, you have a cost for your program. No thanks. My uncle said he'd teach me. It's like, well, you know, your uncle, you didn't just meet yesterday. Your uncle has always been there. So why is it now that I tell you that I have a price, that all of a sudden your uncle rises from the ashes and is able to teach you everything that you need to know? Did he not have that availability before, but now he all of a sudden does? Did you just get a text message? So people have to be willing and open-minded and real, and be willing to bet on themselves, because purchasing education is a bet that they are going to be able to take that investment and turn it into something else, that it's going to be a good ROI. So they have to be real with themselves that, okay, I am betting on me. So if I'm not buying this education, it's probably because I'm not going to be the one doing the work, that I'm not going to do the work, not going to take it seriously. And if you don't take it seriously, then there's a reason why you don't have money. And you're going to continue to have money. I like being very straight with people. It's like, hey, this, money isn't just made up. Money is made up and you can deliver value. You're exchanging value for dollars here. You can do that if you have value. But if you don't have any value to the marketplace, then no, you don't deserve any money. And that's just real. So I would say that invest in a program that's structured, because yeah, though your uncle can mentor you, he may not have the time and he may not have the curriculum. So there's two things. The time is one. He's like, oh, Jimmy, I'm busy. I'll get with me next week. And then two, when he's teaching you, he's going to say, okay, well, I don't know what to teach you. Do you have any questions? And you're like, I don't know even what to ask you because I don't know what I'm doing. And then, so it's this kind of weird thing. It's like, okay, well, let's meet next week. You come up with questions and ask me then. It's like, it's a bad system. So that's why I'm saying the structured education from people who are doing what it is that you want to do. They have the time because they sold you a program, which is, them saying, okay, you give me money, I give you time, right? There's a program, and so they have the time, and then there's a structure. They understand already what brand new people are going to struggle with. Your uncle has no idea what brand new people struggle with. I know exactly what brand new people struggle with all the time because I deal with them every day. So I know exactly, okay, oh, you don't have any questions? Did you know to ask this? Did you know to ask this? And then I just give them the answer and like, oh my God. So what happens is a mentor gets to constrict or condense 20 years of learning into, whatever time frame. So that's and you don't have any money for their education program, then figure something out. You have to be creative in this business. Like, you're trying to raise millions of dollars. You don't have it right now, but I'm sure you're going to figure it out. Because I can tell from the type of person you are. You're going to figure out how to raise millions of dollars. You don't know where it's going to come from, but you're going to find it. And so if you can find millions, they can find hundreds of dollars. And if it costs hundreds of dollars to get into an education program, then go find it. Because if you can't find the hundreds, then you're not going to be able to find the millions like you're looking for, Chris. And that's the game that we're playing. So.
Exactly right, sir. Okay. Well, I think we need to wrap it up here. So again, your website is I Escape My 9 to 5. You have local classes there in the Philadelphia area?
Philadelphia and Cherry Hill. Yes. Philadelphia, PA, and Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Okay. So besides the website, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can email me at Hoan, Hoan, at iescapedmy9to5.com. And it's the number 9, the word TO, and then the number 5.
Okay. So in the show notes, we will have all of the books that you recommended. We're going to have your website. We're going to have your email. We're going to have all the information so everybody can get a hold of you. So again, thanks so much for being on the show. But more importantly, thanks for doing what you're doing. You are really doing a service to everybody out there by teaching the cash flow dream.
Yeah, well, dude, your stuff is awesome. So that's why I agreed to be on here, because I know you're doing great things too, and you're helping a lot of people.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk to you next time.
All right. See you, Chris.